Hello everyone, my name is Holly, and in today's video I am going to be talking through my plans and what I'm going to be reading throughout the month of March. First of all, how is it March? I feel like it was just New Year's and suddenly it's March already. I feel like it's going to be July like tomorrow, so I feel like I need to pick up the reading pace. This month I am using as a little bit of a catch up for me. There are some books here that I have gotten for review that I just never got to, so I'm going to fix that issue this month and catch up on them, finish them, and maybe throw in some arcs toward the end of the month. I only have 4 books here because I do want space for mood reading, so I don't know exactly which arcs that I want to focus on. There's a couple that I have in mind, but I don't want to mention them yet. You'll have to wait for my March wrap up for that, or follow me on Goodreads because that's where you'll see my rating first. So for the month of March, I have one big major goal, and that is to kind of hyper focus on reading this month. Not that I lost that hyper focus in February, but it definitely wasn't as good as January. I still read every single day. I'm still doing my read at least 1 page a day goal, which, oh my gosh, truly that goal has helped me so much. There's just something about every single day knowing that I need to read at least 1 page, and it gets me to sit down and read for like an hour or two, and it's just been it's been great. If you're having trouble reading, or if you're in a reading slump, I highly recommend implementing 1 page a day to your routine. Anyways, let me go ahead and show you the very first book, and that is The Bitter Crown. This is book 2 in the Eden saga. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that. The Eden? You know what? I'm gonna say Eden. This is the sequel to The Lost War, which is a book that I read last month. I have a full review for it. I'll link it down below for you in my description box. I talked about it in my February wrap-up video, and I loved it. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a perfect 5-star read for me, but man, it was still absolutely amazing. I think I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but the ending was so wild and so insane that I just desperately want to continue the story. I love the characters so much as well, and I'm just not quite ready to take a break from that world yet. So I'm kind of on a binge right now with this series. So I'm immediately going on to this one. Anyways, this fantasy takes a really unique approach where it takes place after the big war has already happened, and the main empire that you're following lost, and all the crap that they're having to deal with, all the issues that the villagers are dealing with, and the enemies that are still roaming around the lands. It's dealing with the aftermath of that. And I love that perspective so much. I need more of that in fantasy. You can almost think of it as the book begins with the epilogue. That's a really good way to say it. I am so excited to continue this. The quest to retake the country begins here. Ooh. Oh, I'm pumped. Might as well continue with the Orbit books because that's literally most of what I read. Fathomfolk. I should have read this last month, but unfortunately I just didn't get to it, but I'm really excited to read it. So this is a fantasy that takes place underwater with Asian mythology influences. As you can kind of tell by the cover, I love this cover so much, and it's not just the artwork that I love the colors that they used. But yeah, I've heard really great things. So as you can tell already, 2 pretty chunky books. Honestly, they kind of look similar. Just a little bit. This reminds me of another goal that I want to focus on in March, and that is to read full-length novels. That was one of my cruxes in February, was I DNF'd 2 novellas. I just need to accept that I don't enjoy novellas as much as I do full-length novels. I just want to get lost in a big open world that's kind of complex and has all kinds of these magical elements to it, where the author has time to delve into and build up the world to the reader. And I feel like, these 2 books for sure it's going to do that for me. So that's why I only have full-length novels in this TBR. Not saying that I've never enjoyed a novella before. I have definitely loved novellas in the past, but lately, man, they're not doing it for me right now. Up next is a book I wasn't expecting for me to choose to read anytime soon, but I read the first page and I was very intrigued. So we have The Book of Doors. This was sent to me recently. I opened it up in a recent book mail unboxing video. It was a surprise book that the publisher sent me unsolicited, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read you now because I think it looks really cool. It's kind of reminding me of The 10,000 Doors of January a little bit, which is a book that I absolutely loved. So this is a debut novel full of magic, adventure, and romance. It's being compared to The Midnight Library, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, so it's definitely going to be fantasy realism. But what I love is that the main character works at a bookstore, but one of her favorite customers who often visited the bookstore unfortunately passes away. And that customer left behind one thing, and that was the book that he was currently reading. And I'm assuming the main character picks up that book as well and maybe falls into a different world or something. Maybe like a transportive kind of fantasy. I don't know, but it sounds really, really cool. And the final book that I would love to get to in March is An Education in Malice, another book that I probably should have reviewed already, but I'm getting to it now. That's all that counts. So this is by S.T. Gibson. I have read one book by S.T. Gibson, and that was probably her most famous one, at least the one that made her like kind of go viral, and that was A Dowry of Blood. Unfortunately, I thought that book was just okay. I completely understood the hype around it. I understand why people loved it. It just wasn't for me. It was a very, very spicy vampire romance kind of book. And for one, I'm not like too big into vampires unless they're super brutal and like kill people, and that it wasn't quite that. Or like I Am Legend or something. But this is a gothic dark academia story. It's just what I'm really in the mood for right now. Delicious dark academia tale of blood secrets and insatiable hungers. Yeah, it takes place at a women's college. I'm in the mood for something like this. Something dark, something mysterious. Definitely way different. Actually, these two books are like the same vibe. And then these two books are kind of the same vibe. So I think it's a good mix. So those are the 4 books that I would like to get to in March. Clearly, I'm going to read more than this, but like I do in most of my TBR videos, because I hate making a TBR and telling you guys which books I'm going to read, and then I don't read half of them, or I change them all. As a viewer of BookTube, I personally find that kind of aggravating, watching a BookTuber make a TBR and they don't stick to it at all. No offense to them, because understandable. It's very hard to stick to a TBR these days. So I try to make these realistic, and I will for sure read these books. But it's just going to be a mystery on what else did I pick up. That's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me down below which books that you're going to be reading in March. I would love to know. And until we meet again, happy reading.